Hey everyone, the name is Kris and welcome to Gear Corner. Today we're checking out this baby. This is the Valiant Mercury, and it's a new guitar here in my studio. I will tell all about this guitar, obviously, and also we'll talk about the brand Valiant, who they are, where they're from, etc. But first, let's hear the guitar in its natural environment. This is going to be the intro track, and then we'll get into the details. Make sure to check out all the details in the description box under the video. If you open that more info, whatever it says section, you'll find gear links, you'll find a link to the Valiant website, of course, you'll find all the stuff that I use, my signal chain, timestamps, my merchandise, my album if you want to get it, that would be awesome. And of course, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel, that would help me a lot. So, what is this guitar? It's a Valiant Mercury. They have a couple of models. This is their, well, it's an offset, clearly. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Jaguar, a Jazzmaster, and a Jazz Bass mixed together, but in a very unique way. And also, this is not a standard Mercury because it doesn't have those controls on the top. And also, it's a different pickup configuration. And also, it's a different switch because you'll see the three-way toggle on these guitars quite a bit. So this is a 5-way blade switch, and these are 3 single coil pickups, and there's no additional circuitry up here, just the master volume and tone. I'm a huge fan of these single coil sounds. Now, before we get into the specs and everything, just a real quick sort of disclaimer and like the story behind this. The guys at Valiant are amazing, super nice people, and we've been talking since like 2022 or something. You know, we met at all the NAMM show, Guitar Summit, here and there, and we always had a great time. Every now and then they said like they really like my Strat sounds that I have on the channel with this guitar, which is my modded Strat, and they really wanted to give me one of their versions of a Strat, their pickups and everything, one of the guitars that will give that kind of sound, because they just want to hear how it works in this environment. And then this year, 2025, at the Guitar Summit in Mannheim, Germany, we met and they said like, hey, there's something for you at the booth. You might want to come over. I'm like, ooh, okay, well, and they turned up with this guitar. So disclaimer: I did not pay for this guitar. I paid for it with videos, with work. Essentially, it's their work, their labor, in exchange for my labor. So I will play it in the videos, of course. I make this video right now and just use it in videos where I need a 3 single coil kind of sound, and it's definitely going to be best buddies with my favorite Strat. I will compare this guitar in this video with that one because you've heard that. If you follow any of my videos, you know how that guitar sounds like. It's a very warm, sort of low output, very nice vintage sounding Strat with Seymour Duncan antiquity to the surf, the 60s pickups, and I'll show how this compares, because there's a big difference. It's really, really interesting. All right, let's talk specs, because, I mean, we all love specs, don't we? This is an older body, and it's a 4-piece. We'll talk about it in a second. Maple neck, beautifully peeled off, no finish on there, so it's not sticky. And that's a rosewood board, which is cool. Medium frets, medium jumbo frets, and the neck profile is something that they call their regular modern C. But it's on the thinner side, but it's not super thin. So there are even Fender necks that will be thinner than this. This feels a little more like the shoulder on the upper side of the neck, where your thumb rests, is a little rounder than on the lower side. So it's slightly asymmetrical, which is just so ergonomic. 12-inch radius and 25.5-inch scale length. So that is a mixture. The 12-inch is more of something that Gibson would use. It's a little bit flatter than most Fender guitars, but the scale length is the F length. It's the 25.5-inch. The tremolo is so smooth. Like, it's one of those that will instantly make you Jeff Beck if you can play like Jeff Beck. I cannot, but I love to try to not suck at it too hard, and this does that. It's super smooth. The trem arm has no play. It's just an absolute dream. And for a non-locking tremolo, it's also very stable. If you do the regular Strat tremolo thing, it's perfect. Of course, if you start doing dive bombs, it will slightly get out of tune. It's not a Floyd Rose, is what I'm trying to say. Paired with that, you have Goto locking tuners. It's super high quality. The 510, I think these are called. Yeah, it actually says it. Yes, it's the 510 Goto locking tuners, 1:18 ratio, very precise, no play, very quick string changes, etc. And since we're at the headstock, let's talk about this nut, because I mean, this is amazing. This is their own design. It's a proprietary height adjustable nut with belt bronze inserts that can be adjusted and turned to have like the perfect height, which is it's super clever. Depending on the strings you use, the type of player you are, I don't know, you want to play slide or not, you can just adjust your knot on the fly and reverse whatever you did. It's amazing. Love that. Let's talk about the pickups and the electronics, because this is the point. This is the reason why I end up picking up this guitar whenever I need single coil sounds, since I have it which is like 3 weeks now or something. Master volume, master tone. If you turn the tone all the way up, it's a no load tone knob. So if it's turned up all the way, it's not in the circuit. So it means that it's like if there was no tone pot. If you ever tried that on your guitar, you know that results in more volume, more output, more presence, and just more attack. And as soon as you start using it, it reacts and starts to sound more like your traditional Strats and S-style guitars. It's incredible. You don't have to turn it way down. It's really just a matter of, going down to 9 already makes all the difference if you want that smoother, sort of softer sound. And now let's talk about the pickups. These have a pretty big magnet. Compared to like traditional Strat pickups, these are much bigger. Like the pole pieces are bigger. And I was expecting these to be like very beefy and very loud, but they don't sound like that. Like they have like an even more stratty sound than a lot of Strats, like actual Strats. And it does that without becoming way too sort of thin or way too sort of hi-fi sounding, if you know what I mean. Like a lot of low end, a lot of high end, not a lot of mids. It sounds like even more like a Strat than a Strat without sacrificing the mid-range. And I don't know how they do it. I don't have any infos on the magnet type or not even on the output really, but I will measure that. Neck pickup, 5.6 kilo ohms. Okay, that's actually less than what I expected. Middle pickup, 6.3, and bridge. What do we think? 7.3. It sounds like it's hotter because it doesn't sound thin or harsh. Let's see. Hello. Okay. 8.09, which is just so clever. That's exactly the reason why I find this bridge pickup as usable, as cool for like a blues rock sound even, as my Strat, which has the Tele bridge pickup. And I put in the Tele bridge pickup because I was not able to find a Strat bridge pickup that fulfilled my expectations. I wanted it to be a bit more, mids heavy and not as harsh, not as thin. And this one does that. It does not sound like a Tele pickup at all. It still has more of that stratty voicing, but it's not thin, it's not harsh, it's not any of those things that people usually dislike about a Strat bridge pickup and why a lot of people go for like an HSS configuration. Let's talk about the brand for a second. What is Valiant Guitars? It's a brand in Ukraine, and it was founded in 2020 by the Gavrilenko brothers, two luthiers and musicians who have been like fixing and making guitars for whatever 30 years. So they have a lot of experience. And then in 2020, they founded Valiant Guitars. And despite all the complications and all the troubles in the world, COVID, pandemic, the war, etc., they still just pushed through and didn't give up and did everything in order to develop the company and try to build the best guitars they can. Let's talk about this 4-piece body, okay? One joint, another, and another. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Now, there are people who are very strict in terms of it has to be a 1-piece or a 2-piece, otherwise I'm not interested. Then there are people who will say wood does not matter at all. Now, this guitar rings like a mofo. Try this at home with your guitar. If you have a nice clean amp, like a whatever, a deluxe reverb or any smaller version of like a very nice sounding good clean amp, try this. Turn down the volume and play your guitar. You'll hear a character, and then turn up the volume and play the same thing. If the guitar and the pickups and the whole thing and the amp is nice, like a good quality, then you will hear the character of the guitar coming through. And that will be equally awesome if it's a 4-piece, a 3-piece, a 2 or 1-piece or whatever, how many pieces. The whole construction has a resonant quality, and that is what decides if the guitar will be just that much better than another guitar or not. And 4-piece or 3 or 2, visually speaking, I do prefer a 2-piece. Of course, who doesn't, right? It's just a nice symmetry. But my Strat is a 3-piece, and I love it to pieces. This one is a 4-piece. I had a Japanese Strat, also a 4-piece body. Sounded amazing. So I don't think that matters at all. The message that I get, even though there was no communication between the Valiant guys and myself regarding the body, the message I get with a guitar like this is that we want to make a ridiculously good guitar. It will cost money. It will not be the most budget-friendly guitar, but we don't make guitars for those who want to show off with their guitars. We want to make guitars for musicians. A perfect guitar that resonates right, that has a certain mojo, looks a certain way, and that's it. My thoughts on the Mercury. It's a real alternative to the Fender Strat. With the no-load tone pot, the playability with the 12-inch radius, it's more slide friendly if you're a slide player, because a 9.5 or a 7.25 will be kind of challenging. It's so round that it's hard to get more than 2-3 strings with a slide ring, which is, you know, which has a straight wall, right? So this is much nicer for that. If you like really low tension, a flatter radius is gonna help you with having that and not having issues with your bends. All those things speak for a much more modern instrument, which this definitely is. It doesn't scream modern, but a lot of tweaks go in that direction, much more usable and like a more versatile instrument. This tremolo is amazing. I much prefer this over the traditional trems on, you know, Strats, etc. It's insanely nice to use. So this might actually be my only guitar where I use the whammy bar because it's just fun. It's so precise, so smooth that I end up using it, which I don't on my Strat. I use my Strat as a hardtail. The aging itself is really cool. Again, it looks different than like the Fender Custom Shop kind of aging, which is really nice. Like this is made so well. It's so believable and so real, if you look at it. And also, like, all the details are amazing on the guitar. But then there's the hardware, which looks brand new. That's a little off balance. So if it was my decision, I would do a little less relicking and then leave the tremolo like this and the tuners, etc. Or go for like a full-on hardcore aging, but then also make these a little, you know, rustier and like scratched up and like not as shiny as they are right now. So that's my only complaint, or something that I would maybe do differently. This really cool thing they do with the truss rod adjustment wheel, which is incorporated in the fretboard. Like it's under the fretboard between the 21st and 22nd fret, so you can actually play over it because there's a fret. The 22nd is right up there. All right, let me know in the comments below what you think about the Mercury, how you like the sounds. If there's any detail you want to know and I forgot to mention, hit me up in the comments below. See you down there, and see you in a new video, I guess, next week. Bye bye.